Call this meeting to order. Whereas there's the former council president, the time is 6 p.m. Be it resolved this regular meeting, go for business at the Massey District Community Center in Marina, and at the minutes of the regular meeting on October 27, 2021, be approved. Move on to second. Dale and Edith there. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved the following be added to the agenda: closed session, personal matters about identified individuals, including municipal or local board employees, respecting staffing. Move over to seconder. Kevin, Mayor, and Linda. All in favor? Carried. Richard, do you want to come up to the podium here, please, sir? Thank you.
Good day.
And how are you tonight, dear?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Good, good. Can you give, yes,
You can just get Richard to state his name and why he's here, so that people in John's on online recording.
yeah. Richard Paul there, he's involved in our animal control and our bylaw enforcement there.
Yeah, so Richard Paquette, I'm the municipal law enforcement officer appointed by yourselves to serve as, for the last over 10 years as animal control officer, but more recently as property standards and bylaw enforcement officer.
In regards to your territory you cover, could you give us a brief description of what you covered there?
So in like specific in this municipality?
No, in the area, so
Okay.
people will know that you're qualified and you're not just doing our municipality. Are you doing
Right.
it down the North Shore here?
Yeah, so our company does provide service for Nairn and Hyman, Baldwin Township, and we just, we're in negotiations right now to assume bylaw enforcement services for Baldwin Township. We do property, or bylaws excluding property standards for the town of Espanola, including all animal control matters. This municipality as well, and Spanish and the municipality, township of the North Shore, we do full bylaw enforcement and animal control. Northeastern Manitoulin Island, as well as Whitefish River First Nation, are places where we do animal control, as well as municipality of Killarney, municipality of Mark C. Warren, the Tikmishing and Nishnabek First Nation, and the Wanapitei First Nation are all places where me and my staff operate. Because we do have, in addition to myself, we do have another full-time officer who spends a majority of her time doing shelter maintenance, and we've just hired a new shelter worker / animal control officer, and as time goes on, she will be trained on various bylaw enforcement things, starting with parking and different things like that. So, as well as a number of part-time staff to take care of the animal shelter.
Should cover a vast area then.
Well, it is a large area, but we're at the point now where we're a little more confident going forward that we are able to provide that 24-hour service adequately with it, and not just being put to one of us. We were able to share those responsibilities. So not only that on-call service, but sometimes 2 or 3 trucks going 2 or 3 different places to do 2 or 3 different things at the same time, right? Because that's we don't have a lot of control over what calls come in, but we do have a control over how we react to them. We do our best to address matters as they come forward.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to know, let the people know there, because if you're going to another municipality, you're also seeing what's going on in our municipality on the way through there. So it's not just come once a week or once a month there to this municipality.
It was traditionally once a week, if not more, for animal services, and now, if it's not 2 or 3 times a week, we're definitely spending that amount of time on the background work, right? Because every hour that I'm out in the field is sometimes an hour or more, depending on the case, in paperwork back at the office.
Does anybody have any questions for Richard there? Anything else you want to add there, Richard, there?
Well, I sent an email out this morning, you got that? So, I think that sums it up. It's been a very challenging year. To say that, we've addressed every matter and closed every case, I can't say that. Right? A lot of these problems have been going on for 20 years, if not longer. And, there's a bit of a learning curve, right? Whether or not, what happened before my tenure, I don't really want to speak to, but, there has been a lot of stuff that needed to be caught up on. And we've done our best to prioritize the cases, looking at, what needs to be done today and what is more, aesthetic kind of stuff that, we can work on it as we go forward. Especially things like recreational vehicles, right? That's been a huge challenge for us this year, right? And, we were working very closely with building and the administration to identify properties and to plan an approach going forward, because it's not just one or two properties, there's dozens of them where these people have set up unlawfully, right? And we do intend to follow up on each one that we become aware of and, move those cases forward until we have, a lawful use of that property. So, it is a work in progress. You never feel satisfied that you've done enough, because there's always things that, I don't have a lot of control over what people do, right? We're there to convince them that, this is the best way forward, and when they fail to do so, to impose penalties in order to, convince them they need to do that. There have been extraordinary cases already where we've gone, and done a lot of stuff. So, I don't want to get into specific cases, of course, because I don't think that's appropriate for this venue. But, there has been lots of challenging cases, and a lot of it's to do with, the pandemic has made this, the last year doing this job, quite difficult. And it's a lot of property owners have expressed a lot of frustration on, not being able to source building materials, not being able to source contractors to do work, right? Those are two big factors that, that have been identified. And it's hard to, when people bring those concerns forward, right? We have to work with them, and we've seen a lot of progress on a lot of properties. There's a lot of properties where, we're not satisfied. But, we continue to, bring that forward with the property owners, and we're hoping that, they're going to continue to do what they need to do. And if they don't, one thing I would like to look at is applying for a set fine application, which would allow us to write Part 1 tickets, to try and move some of these cases forward. The Part 3 process is there for property standards right now, but it is a very cumbersome process, and it's not always appropriate for some of the things we're dealing with. So I think that having that tool would be a lot, would help us along, and we're doing our best.
Do you have an idea of when, because you said you'd like to plan a draft outline to send in your last paragraph, do you know when roughly you'd have one of those in place, like your draft?
Well, I've been approached by Mimi and Killarney to work on their animal control bylaw, and so I'm working on, I'd like to, preferably everybody adopt at least a very similar bylaw, right? There are certain, things that, the council would like to see in one bylaw that another council would not like to see, and we're not opposed to that, of course. But in the next few months, it does get a little bit slower over the winter. It depends on, like some things are more busy, some things are less. So I'm hoping that we'll have some time to kind of catch up on a lot of, cases and move things like, improving the legislative framework forward. There's a lot of bylaws that we can look at here, but, it takes time to go through those processes, and we want to make sure we do it right if we were going to do it.
Richard is Linda, just for people that are listening into the recording. I just appreciate the vast area that you have to deal with. And I have comments, not concerns, but I have comments regarding, because of the different areas that you deal with, and everybody has different bylaws and, other things. So I'm just wondering if you have a plan in place to have for your staff to be aware of each place that you are dealing with, including ours, and getting them up to speed on the bylaws and that. I know it's a task enough just to have calls that you're, calls in, and then having to deal with things that are structured. So I know that's a difficult thing to do, to be kind of like on call and then have the other structured things in place. So I don't know if you have a plan or a system that you have with your staff, since you've only been with us for a short while for the bylaw portion of it. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're constantly studying bylaws, and so we're constantly studying bylaws, and I can't even admit to being able to cite every bylaw every time, right? And a lot of my instruction to my staff, the dispatchers, right, because we do our best to have people answer the phone during the day, is to take messages, right? If you're not sure what the answer is, then don't give the answer, right? And take that message, what the concern is, right? Number to call them back, or email, or whatever, and we can look into making sure that we're giving the right answer, because we don't ever want to give the right answers, and sometimes that is, we err on the side of not giving an answer immediately, right? There's like even in yourself, like you have 10 or 15 different bylaws, for all sorts of different things, and then Espinola's got another 10 or 15 different bylaws that say, so I can't memorize them all, and I wouldn't expect my staff to. But what we do is we take each case and we look at, it never hurts to go back to the bylaw and double check, because sometimes you forget what's in there.
Exactly. What I meant was, you service so many different municipalities. I was just wondering if you have a setup where, okay, so we're dealing with this municipality, we have this section here. I'm just wondering if you have that, as opposed to acting gut reaction for every call. That's all.
Well, I sometimes try to carry around paper copies of all the bylaws, but I do, we'll consult, having them on municipal websites is a great bonus for us, because if we don't have it, and then we can save it off the website. But it is really, you study the bylaw for almost every case, right? Because every case is different, and there's different nuances to different things. And
so your staff basically is fielding the calls, and you're dealing with the outcomes of the calls. Is that what you're saying, or?
For the most part,
Okay.
they do take the calls and try to get the concerns.
I just want to understand that part. Yeah. Okay.
And then somebody that knows what they're talking about gives them a call back.
Okay. Thank you.
If necessary.
Anybody got any other questions for
Kevin Burke here. I'd just like to say we had a pretty big backlog of property standards issues. And of course, animal control is ongoing. I think you've done a good job for us this year, and I'd like to thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's going to be an ongoing thing. It's a learning curve, like you said. You've got a lot of different sets of bylaws to look at, but we can only grow from here, and I hope the relationship continues.
As do I. It's been a very rewarding year, because we have seen lots of things accomplished, right? Not on every property or in every case, but I mean, we do our best to move those cases forward where we can and where it's appropriate, right? Because there's some extenuating circumstances where it's best to maybe back off for a little bit, right? And we try to work with especially people that are very cooperative with us, right? If they're cooperating and they show a plan and they say that we're going to do this, right? Then we're willing to work with them to let that happen, right? We want people to clean their own properties, right? So it's like, I almost think it's a failure where we have to move in and clean a property for someone.
Big cost for us.
Yeah, and so I mean, if we can accomplish that by, you know, whether it's, you know, taking them to court if necessary, right? That's an option that, you know, there's a few cases where, you know, that's gonna happen in the next little while because, you know, people just aren't showing us that they wanna cooperate and wanna bring the case forward. So in those cases, we're gonna have little choice but to move to a court process. So, and that's preferable in some cases versus cleaning up, right? Sometimes cleaning up is the best option, depends on the circumstance and what's going on, right? And we make those cases as we go. And, you know, we consult with administration to, you know, and get their opinion on what they think is the best option for us as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Richard there?
I'll be around for a bit if there's any other questions that come up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, be it resolved that Richard Paquette be thanked for attending this meeting to give council an update of bylaw enforcement services. Move in a second. Pat here, and Brenda, all in favor? Carried. Eldon, do you want to come forward here, please? Thank you.
No. I'd like to thank the council and that whatever, I gotta put my hearing aid back, for the job you did in Webwood on the rink building. Unbelievable. No, it's really an asset to have it done. We built that in 1973. We had a grant, and we had I just think take this one out. We had a grant like to build it. So anyway, it was at a council meeting. Don McMillan was the mayor. Well, he said, use council. He said, we're going to meet you over at the rink building there on Sunday morning. We got to put the pour the cement floor in. So they had a big cement mixer there and they had a load of gravel. So we all went over, plus other people come and helped put the cement floor in. So that's, no, it really looks unbelievable.
Nice to hear.
Yeah. Okay, this one here about the, I'll take this off. Yeah. About the museum. Now, I got a copy of the meeting here. It was November in 2015. And it was right here for that matter. And at that time, it cost $53,797 to run it. They brought in $36,187, and they were short $17,560. Now, the council must have had to pay it to make the difference up. Now, this is 6 years later. Now, how much is it costing now to run that place with no people, and how much is the council giving them? Giving the museum? How much is the council or the township giving the museum to operate?
Eldon, that's a non-profit organization, hands off of the municipality. So all we do is give them a donation every year. Is it $7,500 or $7,500 out in there, and that's what they get from the municipality. But it's arm's length of the municipality. We have no control of their budget there. And
I know you got,
their
okay,
deficit.
here's another thing. The taxes at that time were $25,000. Now, does the township now give them free taxes? Because it got to be more than $25,000 now, because that's what it was 6 years ago. So the township giving them free taxes?
They get a charitable rebate in regards to that, same as the Elks there and same as the Legion.
Like, how do you mean? Like, how do you, I don't get it. How do you mean?
What? Kim said they pay it and get a rebate back there.
So the township pays it?
No, they don't.
They pay the taxes,
Yes.
and then what?
And then we give them some of it back.
For how much?
Not all of it.
Well, now you
It's
got
the same as
seven,
the Eagles.
you got
Exactly.
$7,500 to give them automatically, now they're getting tax rebates, so what is the total? I mean, what is your total you give them? Like, what is the total money you give
Yeah,
the museum?
Hold on, Ruth, there, can you give us some numbers there?
I don't know, I couldn't say exactly, but 20,000 is around.
Well, that's
what the annual
$20,000
taxes are.
too much.
So we treat all the same organizations the same way, the Eagles get the same thing.
They
pay
get
their taxes.
$20,000 too?
No, but if they pay their taxes and they submit their
Well,
application, it,
You got a brown elephant over there. I mean, you're wasting money. You take a
It's
20,000.
not ours, Alvin, it's not ours.
I know it isn't, but you're giving them money. $20,000 a year for 10
We also
years
give the
or 5
Eagles-
years was
Alvin,
$100,000.
Alvin.
No, Eldon, you weren't listening. We don't give them 20,000. 20,000 is their tax bill. They get a portion of that back, the same way the Eagles Club does, the same way the Legion does, any non-profit organization.
Well, like I said, 6 years ago, it was 25,000. Now it's only 20. That's not right.
That's a ballpark figure.
That's not right at all.
It's not our
But
museum anyway, Alvin.
Then it says here,
Alvin, it's not our museum.
I know it isn't.
Well, then we
But
can't.
why
tell
are
them
you
how-
giving them money for?
Just like we give to the why do we give money to the Eagles?
How much you give?
Why do we give money to the Legion? Why do we give
Because-
money to the Lee Valley
Well,
Hall?
I'll tell you
The
why.
same reason.
They
They're all
do,
nonprofit.
they do something. Like it's sad that there's
So
no,
does the museum.
there's
I'm not
no,
on the museum board, I don't attend it, I go to their fundraisers, and the museum, if you talk to any one of their board members, they do a lot of work.
well, they're getting nothing for it. Like I said, the Legion and all those
That's
other
work.
outfits,
Have you ever been in the museum?
no, I won't go in there either.
Then
Okay,
that's
okay.
your loss, I'm sorry.
Okay, another thing here, Spanish River Residents to Council. We want to vote on Massey Area Museum. There was never ever a vote like put in like at an election to vote against it or for it. There was never ever
We don't own it,
pardon me?
we don't own it, how are you gonna vote against the museum? We
It's
don't
the
own it.
money you are giving to people are,
So you want us, that's.
like, were you at that meeting here 6 years ago, in this building?
Doesn't matter what happened 6 years ago, we're talking about now.
Well, I know you're talking about, but even then, 95% of the people at that meeting were against it then. There was only a few that were for it because it was taking up a waste of money, like it was built like, too big or too much, but $1.2 million, which the township, or even, okay, not the township then, like even the board, the museum board couldn't afford $1.2 million for it.
Yeah, but Eldon, they got grants in regards to.
I know, but
Okay, have you any other concerns?
oh, yes. Okay, victims of their dogs being attacked would like to know when they expect to be compensated for their costs of vet and travel. Are the charges up in court?
That's up for the victims to find that out. We don't have proof to that information, it's illegal.
Ask him.
It's not,
Ask him over there.
don't be pointing fingers. He has nothing to say. in it.
Well, it's his responsibility.
That's a private
Okay,
issue.
another thing. At the old school property, which was gone pretty good, like the guys there are starting already, I did use a sketch at that meeting, bit like to see. So I asked Paul, fire chief, to come in July, because the grass was that high in that property beside me. The guy that had the property had barricades up to stop people for some reason. So Paul said, oh, he says, it's not, I said, it's a fire hazard. No, he says, it's up to property standards. So I got a hold of Richard, so Richard comes took pictures and that. So okay, so I don't know what he did. So anyway, the guys moved out, and the stuff is still there. Like he should have been right on them. Should be the responsibility of the guy that owned the property to clean it up before he go. It's still there. Now I feel sorry for the guy that bought the property. Like, you know, he's got to clean that up now, and the other guy made the mess. Okay, Now, I put in quite a few complaints for him to look after. There's not one thing done. I called him on last week. I said, why aren't, Richard, you doing something? Well, he says, the people are poor, the COVID-19, and the dump is too far away, it's a mess. So we have in Webwood the dirtiest looking highway street from Sudbury to the Sioux. And it's there, and there's nothing done. And he's not doing his job. He's not.
Eldon,
He-
you just heard Richard explain there.
Oh,
that he's working on-
I had more dealings with him, and he's not doing what he's doing nothing. Absolutely
Eldon,
nothing.
cut that out there. Anything else there, Eldon, for tonight there?
No, I'm just telling you, he is not doing his job. You're paying him $27,000 a year for nothing. You're paying, you don't realize it. He's not doing enough for cleaning up our town. Now, we have got a committee there now, Webwood. It's Clean Up Webwood Committee. So you will be getting a copy of the complaints, and he's going to be getting one. Like, I know he put on a good show for you people, but he is not doing nothing. That's exactly, exactly what he told me. The people are poor, the COVID-19, and the dump is too far, it's in Massey. So that's what he told me.
Eldon, the mess.
Tell him what you told me.
Eldon,
What?
the mess didn't happen overnight there.
Hey?
The mess didn't happen overnight.
And
It's all around the
it's
municipality.
been a year now. Have you ever brought him in and checked his logbook to see what the complaints, and then after what he done? Did you ever bring him in to check his logbook? It's been a year now. Have you? You've never, because you don't care. He's not doing nothing.
Eldon, any other concerns for tonight there, please?
And he's supposed to go and park, in the winter time, go around, check when the snow comes with the vehicles. There's no vehicle, it's never been around in the winter time.
Is that it?
Snow plow's gotta
Is
go
that it
around.
for tonight there, Eldon?
Hey,
Is that it?
well, I don't know. I guess it's gonna have to be for now, but like I said, he is not doing nothing. You're paying him for nothing. Get somebody else.
Okay, thank you, Eldon.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that, Richard there.
Well, it's the truth. Never mind, sorry, it's the truth. He's not doing nothing. Apologize to somebody else.
Okay, be it resolved that items A1 and E1 contained in the consent agenda be adopted. Anybody got any concerns in regards to any of that matters? Mover, Kevin, you move it there and Cheryl sign it there. No concern, nobody? All in favor? Carried. Sir, have you got a concern there for tonight, there?
No, not yet. It's a slow night at home.
Well, glad you could join us.
In regards to A2, we are got a conflict of interest there. And that was settled with the table.
If I could be excused,
Yes.
I'm gonna wait just a few minutes, but
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
thank you. Have a good night.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah,
Yes.
we know Rome wasn't built in a day.
Richard.
Okay.
That's the report that I had sent out to council last week, that just reiterated the resolution that was passed a year ago, indicating that it would be revisited after a 1 year time, with the conditions that have been imposed, so council shall review it.
So did everyone review the sanctions and the resolution that was passed last year? Is there any discussion that anybody would like to have in regards to this?
No, because we can't make it any worse.
Pardon?
We've done all we can do, I know, there's nothing else we can impose, you know what I'm saying?
No. We've done what we can do, but I think
Oh, I agree.
should be maintained
Yes,
until election morning.
until we're done our tenure, right?
Your term.
Yeah.
And there's still employees that are traumatized from this.
Yeah.
And there's a public outcry for resignation, which is not.
Yeah.
So I think it's up to us to keep things the way they are until the next election.
I agree.
I believe we should uphold it
Yeah.
until our.
And he has taken some of it seriously, he had to be reprimanded a few times that I don't know of personally, so I don't know what else, but
I don't
I
have to
think
say
it
it, but
should
I have
go,
to be
so-
reported.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to mention them because,
Yeah.
yeah.
so do you need a seconder or?
So what I will do, so do you have any questions or comments?
Status quo, we
Okay. Dale?
I have no questions.
Okay, any comments? No? Okay, so I'm going to read this motion. Did anybody want a recorded vote? Or
Record it,
I don't think,
for.
well, I don't think so.
okay, I was asking because sometimes people will ask, so, yeah, okay. Be it resolved that the council deems that the conditions imposed in resolution 2020-325 shall remain in effect for the duration of this term of council. Can I have Kevin and Edith to second? All in favor? Carried. Leslie, you come up and say.
I put together our customary memo to council with regards to the December council meeting schedule. We need to consider the holiday season. Last year, council had agreed to cancel the second meeting with the understanding that if one was needed, it could be by call on the chair.
Sorry, Karen, could you speak up a little bit?
Sorry. Last year, council had decided that the second meeting in December would be canceled, the understanding that if it was necessary, it could be called at the chair. So that would mean we would cancel the December 22nd meeting this year. Council had no issue with that?
I have no issue.
Well, provided that we don't have a lot of business,
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
December is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Things change.
You never know. I think it's safe to say that. I mean, obviously, if there's something that comes up that needs our special attention, then we'll just have to call a meeting, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So December 8th stands and
Yeah, right.
December 2nd will be canceled, okay.
Okay, be it resolved, the regular council meeting of December 22nd, 2021 to be canceled here. Move in the second here. Linda and Kevin here, all in favor? Carried. In regards to Christmas bonus for all permanent employees, anybody have any concerns? Anybody have
that's
Okay. Okay, be it resolved that in lieu of the Christmas bonus, all permanent full-time employees shall have December 24th, 2021 as a day off of pay. Move in the second. Edith there and Linda, all in favor? Carried.
Council have expressed in the past their gratitude to that, so thank you on behalf of them.
the counselor.
No.
I'll stop talking and let Ann take over.
So we're bringing back the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment for, as applied for by Katie Elliott, which is for the 6 Minto Street property. I circulated the, council to defer a decision, looking for a technical study that any adverse effects are clearly and fully mitigated to council satisfaction. The report that the director of the company submitted, I've circulated to council, so if you deem this sufficient, that your concerns are being taken into consideration. If you have any comments on what they've provided, we can move forward with that, or if you feel that you still want a more technical report. Unfortunately, there is no definition as to what a technical report is. So, I mean, I know that sort of leans to more of an engineering sort of style, but if they've addressed your concerns to your satisfaction, that's what we need to know.
I feel they have. I mean, obviously from his description here, the single biggest issue is gonna be the cement truck delivering twice a week, if I'm not mistaken. Other than that, it's not even gonna be tandem axle vehicles or anything.
How I see it is kind of like the train running through my backyard kind of thing.
Oh,
It's on a
yeah.
schedule, and it's on a schedule, it's good for business. And that's how I see it personally. I do not want to start any business that doesn't have a massive impact. As far as
I
I'm
think we had a few people that were outraged by a business being set up in Westwood. I think there was way more positive feedback from the Westwood residents about something constructive being done and attracting some business to the area. I think these people are gonna do a good job. I hope their business is successful.
I mean, this does fit perfectly with our official plan and our zoning to fill in these places that are underutilized
Yeah,
within the community.
yeah, absolutely. This place is gonna be less noisy than
Yes.
at school in the morning or in the afternoon with all the buses.
And the businesses.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I just think, I personally been getting a lot of positive feedback
Yeah.
from the people, and just the way that I read what they sent to us, it seems like they're very willing to do whatever
Yes.
necessary, and
Yeah.
they seem to be quite forthcoming
Yeah.
and really above board, so I think
Well, I
it's
think
a
it's
good
a
thing.
positive
It's
thing
great.
for women.
I have to really give them credit to have the forethought to go out and reach out to the community to see their, do like an impact assessment kind of thing, how people felt. There's always going to be some negative feedback, but they were very forthcoming in what they provided and their business and what it entailed. And I think that in itself is pure honesty and it's growth for our township. And I really believe that
I
that's
think
a
it
good
spoke
thing.
volumes for them to have gone
Yes.
door to door, introducing themselves, getting out a info package, a lot of people's rates, I think that showed,
Yes.
it's like you said, it's forethought, that we want to fit in here and we don't want to be place, we want to be part of it and we want to grow here.
And some of the comments that we received from the few people here that, well, we didn't know about it, we weren't home. Well, that's part and parcel of doing a survey or anything. You're not always gonna answer the phone and you're not always gonna be home. But still, that the person wanting to provide the information regardless, even here, so that is a good thing.
Well, I mean, even at the last council meeting.
Yes.
We approached people that had real issues with it.
Yes.
And spoke with them. And I haven't heard from any of those
No.
people since, so I have to assume that their issues are resolved.
Further to this discussion, the draft bylaws that have been circulated to council, I slightly amended number 2, where it says that a light industrial use specific to the assembly of precast concrete fireplaces shall be considered to be a permitted use. I added in accordance with the operations process and procedures outlined in the attached Schedule B. So what they have provided to us is what is part of these bylaws, and that is how they have to follow through with their business.
So any deviation
Will
from that
require-
has to be brought forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Kim.
Any other concerns, anyone? Be resolved that bylaw 2021-41 being a bylaw to amend official plan for the property in Helen Township Plan M19, lot 130 to 132, be read first and second time. Move in second. Dale and Kevin, all in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that bylaw 2021-41 being a bylaw to amend official plan for the property in Howell Township, Plan N19, lot 130, 132, be read a third and final time, passed over council. And Pat, Darren, and Kevin, all in favor? Carried.
It'd be nice to see some more stuff like this.
So that was for the official plan amendment document, and this is now for the zoning amendment document.
Be resolved that bylaw 2021-42 being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for the property in Helen Township, Plan N19, lot 130-132, be read first and second time. Linda and Dale, all in favor? Carried. And be it resolved that bylaw 2021-42 being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for the property in Howell Township Plan M19, lot 130, 132, be read a third and final time, passed on the council. Kevin, Aaron, and Cheryl, all in favor?
The October 13th meeting, the council also deferred the official plan and zoning amendment applications by Maxine Osmond to, she's looking to have a course in the residential zone. We deferred it pending a report detailing setbacks from property lines and wells, animal housing requirements, and manure management. I circulated the response I received from Ms. Osmond, and if council has comments or concerns with it, if they feel that's sufficient or not. We've had other instances where courses have been asked to be removed from the residential zone, which are very rural looking, much like this property. And we've also denied chickens in residential zones, so this is not really much different. We will be setting a precedent if we proceed.
I couldn't really tell on the map, my one question is, I noticed, where the water source is and the fence line, because I think she drew it like a little house that they built in to the water line, but isn't it like your fence line from your water, or see? Because if the horses, if the fence line goes close, but she indicated like the little stable. I just don't know, like, I just wasn't sure. I was always seeing most pastures, like, the cows are far, far away. So I just don't know how close it actually was, the fence line to the
Yeah, she
water
didn't
source.
really provide distances. She kind of dotted on her map where things were in relation to each other, but not really very specific.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how we would manage monitoring that the manure was removed. Once a month. I mean, that's,
I think it all comes down to
It's
zone
residential.
residential, so, yeah, And you said.
Once you open that door, then that's right. Then
Right.
it'll be chickens or another one.
I know people own horses, but they live residentially and they board their horses there. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And you can have a horse, but it's residential. Yeah.
Unfortunate, but the rules are the rules and we have to all obey the rules.
I just think it's, yeah, it's like, sure, I'd love to have a goat in my backyard, won't lie, but, you know, I live in a residential area and you cannot do it. And it's like, yeah, like, how do you know Junior's gonna come away, how do you know it's on his way? And if the other people have to move forward, it can just create such a precedence that Richard will be
Yeah,
running even more.
you're creating complication
Yeah.
and you're creating, you know, by the animal, you know, enforcement officer. And you're creating all this chaos for no reason, only because this is already residential, so.
And that's the bottom line. It's a
Yeah.
residential property and we can't allow agricultural animals to reside on that property.
I mean, it's a bit of an illusion there. There's a big field.
Oh,
You think,
yeah.
oh, you're out in the country, but again,
But those were developed as residential lots.
I agree.
It still looks like a field because they haven't been developed.
that's right.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, we're opening a can of worms if we allow agricultural animals on a residential property.
We had a very long battle with the last resident that had a horse in that, in Redwood. It was a very long and struggle. It was a very long struggle. We finally got him to remove the horse, but it was hard.
And it was probably quite time consuming, right? Yes.
Of course.
Oh, it took forever.
And the process,
Well-
time, length.
Processing the resources that your time has.
Well, and not even to mention the bad feelings that come
Yeah,
from it,
right.
but again, I mean, there's some questionable practices with animals and property in rural residential areas. This is not rural residential, right? This is residential area. I see people with animals in certain areas, there's nothing we can do about that. I wish we could, but, I feel bad because there was an appeal to me from residents to let this happen, but
Well, it needs to be like you're saying, the rest of it, it's just not developed yet.
No,
So if you put
exactly.
horses in, then it's really hard to develop it, right? Because it can impact that further growth for the future, so you have to always be looking further ahead.
well, that opens it up for anybody in the town of Webwood, or anybody in the township on a residential lot. Agricultural animals.
That's where we have to draw the line.
The snowball effect.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yes.
Yes, it's not
Yeah.
personal. Like, we're discussing Webwood, but it is actually the
That's right.
township of the Sables-Spanish River.
That's right.
Yes.
Anywhere in the township
Yeah.
that is zoned residential.
Yeah.
So residential, just say residential.
Any other concerns, anybody?
Nope.
Okay, be it resolved with respect to official plan amendment file number 21-02 and zoning bylaw amendment file number 21-04 for property in Howland Township Plan M38 lot 127 at 38 New Lake Road. Request is hereby denied to allow for agricultural use specific to the keeping of horses for this property in the urban residential district, general residential zone due to the proximity of adjacent residential lands requiring private drinking water systems. Second, Pat, here, Linda, all in favor? Carried. Okay, be it resolved to move into closed session at 6:49 p.m. pursuant to section 239-2 of the municipal act to consider personal matters about identical individuals, including municipal and local board employees respecting staffing. Move it, Linda, and Edith there, all in favor? With the numbers of a lot of control in Sudbury there, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to shut down, because I've always in trouble. North Bay's in trouble.
Bowman's really climbing as well.
Yet Doug Ford says everything's wide open in March, and at Cambria, they said it'll all be in-person instruction again starting in January. And I said to people, that's a long ways away to make a prediction like that. When the numbers were 165 in June, and now today was 523 or 468 or something.
Unfortunately, the 12 and unders are being affected now, and the cases are rising dramatically in the children from school, and schools are being closed again. Because younger children are getting it now.
And there's another thing I've been told of counterfeit passports.
Oh, yeah.
And how
Oh, wow.
easy is it
I'm not
to
surprised.
duplicate something like that? I mean, I got mine plasticized,
Yeah.
but how easy is it to change a name? It's just black ink.
Yeah, if you don't have the code and they're not scanning it, then it's pretty easy to.
So again, I don't understand our government in that sense, and what his latest announcement just threw a kibosh to everything we were trying to do.
I am shocked the college is going ahead with in class.
I can't see that word being any good.
Well, you can change your mind pretty quickly.
You say what they want to take it right now, right?
And the rules are going to change next week.
Well, people have got tired of everything, and so,
Oh,
and
sure.
now you see what happens when people get tired and get lax.
Mental health is going through the roof. There's
Yeah.
lots going on, and I swear this is about money.
This is a cold weather virus, and it's gonna get worse.
Okay, be it resolved that the time is 7:10 PM, and this meeting be adjourned on this regular meeting of the Chair. Dale, and Linda. All in favor?